A very warm welcome to IDFC First Bank presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 11. I'm Ritwika Gupta. As we focus on retail all of this month, we'll bring you two conversations tonight with players in this dynamic sector. In the first segment, we'll be chatting with Shailesh Jain, co-founder Miro, an e-commerce marketplace for ethnic products. And in the second segment, we'll be speaking with Krsnaa Mehta, founder of Godrej India Circus, a home decor and lifestyle brand. Started with a mission to bring the world's best ethnic designs to people's doorstep, Mirraw offers hand-picked designs in ethnic jewelry, apparels, and accessories. The e-commerce brand has quite a fan following in India, US, and Europe. And talking to me more about this is Shailesh Jain, co-founder Mirraw. Hi Shailesh, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Ritwika, for having me here.
So, ethnic wear has been and continues to be prominent, but in a world that's becoming increasingly globalized, do you believe traditional wear, ethnic wear, still has the same value? In fact, that's my question to you. What prompted you to focus on ethnic wear as your core offering as an e-commerce entity?
So, way back in 2011, when we actually started, idea was simple. We wanted to get into an industry which is largely fragmented. Even though we primarily right now deal in ethnic wear as a category entirely, way back in 2011 we started with jewelry as a primary category. And I really like the reasoning was similar. And when we started, I think a lot of people told us that this seems like a dying industry as we were westernizing more. But we had faith in terms of categories that has been sort of working since last probably decades will continue to thrive. And we see today, I think ethnic wear seems like a big category in terms of most of the marketplaces as well. We are focused a lot in terms of occasion wear as a category as opposed to a lot of peers, lot of marketplaces. They continues to do anything and everything, I would say. Also the kind of brands, vendors, retailers that we work with are a lot smaller, I would say, than most other marketplaces. And what helps us in that, it brings a lot of exclusivity and limited stocks that so that customers, when they are actually shopping, they know that these are limited SKUs, limited units when they are shopping. And that is the, I would say that is the USP, how we have been able to grow till date.
Shailesh, speaking of e-commerce, how do you think the landscape in India has transformed and developed over the years, shaping the online shopping industry within the country?
Oh, a lot. I think when we started back, at least, I remember the outsized focus of every other peer, and we had a lot of peers raised humongous amount of money. The focus was more sellers, more GMV. And this is the time when like Flipkart was small and Amazon had just launched in India, right? For fast forward today, like if you see all major marketplaces, including us, our focus has shifted a lot in terms of curation. All of us are thinking more in terms of unit economics, lot more, obviously thanks to funding winter that we are seeing right now. So I think a lot has shifted in that sense. And also I would say starting 2016-17, a lot of focus is in terms of D2C as a brand. So a lot more people, lot more marketplaces, including us, we've gone into private labels, trying to build, trying to figure out gaps in categories. And that's how I think unit economics have started working for at least some of these players.
With consumers becoming more conscious about the environment, sustainability is also gaining prominence. Shailesh, tell us, how are you catering to this change in consumer behavior, and is the Indian marketplace keeping pace with the same?
Sure. I think in terms of sustainability, I think a lot of us as e-commerce fraternity, I would say that we've done a lot in terms of the whole supply chain and packaging and those things. The place where I would say the biggest impact that can happen, I still feel, is slow fashion, which I wouldn't say India has yet taken up it in a big time. If you say the craze, whether a lot of offline retailers, big giant retailers, fast fashion seems to be the case. I think sustainability gets impacted a lot in that sense. However, in other areas, I think a lot of us are a lot more conscious in terms of sustainability, in terms of the entire supply chain.
And Shailesh, as a brand focused on ethnic wear, how are you elevating the artisans of the country, the smaller businesses, and really advancing the Make in India initiative?
Sure. I think for us by design, since we are focused a lot towards exclusivity and small boutiques, retailers, artisans, this comes naturally for us. One of the challenges these artisans keeps facing is they cannot manufacture in bulk by definition, right? And the products that they will ship out, each product may be a little different from the other. And so the consumer base that we are going after and we target is very India one consumer base. So which is about 10-15 odd crore population that we actually go after. And this customer base are savvy in that sense and looking for exclusive kind of products. And that's how we are able to work with artisans. We, unlike large marketplaces which can give you 100 orders for a single piece, we work on lot on exclusive small quantities, and that really helps artisans in that sense.
So with the global fashion industry penetrating the Indian market, how do you think homegrown brands can ensure that they continue to thrive?
Sure. At least in the categories that we deal in, luckily, ethnic wear as a category has been largely immune to fast fashion retailers coming into India and expanding that ways. I think specifically in terms of occasion wear, we still continue to see large opportunity. We believe exclusivity is something that is going to drive growth for brands, and any brand by definition that is large scale mass manufacturing, we feel that cannot win in terms of occasion wear. So we continue to be bullish in that segment as such.
So you also recently ventured into the luxury segment. Tell us, what's your outlook on the luxury retail space in the country?
Sure. So like I said that I look at India into 3 or 4 segments broadly, right? And I think Kishore Biani ji has explained this really well. With Mirraw, we focus on India 1 as a population, which is at about 10-15 odd crores. And we expect that as India continues to grow, we will have a lot more people from India 2, India 3 going to India 1. Similarly, if you see the number of billionaires that have actually come out in the last decade, and these are young entrepreneurs, India Alpha as a segment, which is on top of India 1, continues to grow. And we are into an infinite game as such. We do not have a time horizon in the sense that we want to become X, Y, Z in the next 5 years. We have an infinite game that we are in. And we are continuing to be bullish that a lot of people who are in India 1 or India 2 today will also migrate to India Alpha. And luxury as a space, if you see, apart from a lot of retailers outside India who have come into India, luxury as a space is not dominated by Indian brands as such. However, if you take a sort of multi-decade time frame, I would say a lot of homegrown brands, and we have seen initial results in terms of brands in imitation jewelry, for instance, coming out in a luxury sort of a space. So we continue to be bullish in that segment as such, and that's why we ventured into luxury as a segment.
And what are the key challenges that you have faced as a player in a fairly crowded market space?
Sure. So I think like for most e-commerce, and which is true, unit economics is the #1 challenge, whether it is online, offline, any brand. If India as a market is really hard to crack in terms of unit economics. And so with respect to profitability and unit economics, if you can crack this model, and most brands are trying to do via private label. For us, the challenges are compounded because we have chosen to be bootstrapped. We've chosen, despite funding offers or M&A kind of an environment, we continue to stay bootstrapped because we wanted to grow organically. And like I said, that most VCs or LPs would come with a say 7 or 8 years kind of a time frame. And we don't see this as a game of 7-8 years. We see this as a multi-decade kind of a game. So we're playing this an infinite game. When a lot of competition raises a lot of money, they will do things that are not necessarily great for your business in terms of unit economics. The idea is to stay in the game for long, and this is how we have typically survived many winters as such.
So Shailesh, the theme for our show this season is Ideas for New India. What would you say are some of the big ideas impacting the fashion space in New India?
So I think entrepreneurship as one big idea, I think is something that can put India on a global map as such. If you see a last decade, the entrepreneurs that have come out of tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 cities out of nowhere, and they've been able to build unicorns as such. So I think India's story continues to be intact. Barring the funding winter, if we can survive this funding winter, I think India as a story is intact, and we will continue to be a large 5 trillion sort of an economy as such.
Well, it was great chatting with you, Shailesh. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Ritwika, for having me.
Well, it's time for a quick break here. We'll be back shortly. Stay tuned. Welcome back. You're watching IDFC First Bank Presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 11. In this segment, my colleague Rohan Richard will be in conversation with Krsnaa Mehta, founder of Godrej India Circus, who's going to talk to us about some of the key trends shaping India's home decor sector. Over to you, Rohan.
Thank you, Ritwika. Today, I'm in conversation with a brand that offers contemporary chic and sophisticated styles. India Circus by Krsnaa Mehta is a Godrej venture that offers affordable home decor and personal accessories. The brand has a diverse and distinct palette in a bid to represent India through its tone and designs. Welcome to the show, Mr. Mehta.
Pleasure being with you too, Rohan. Thank you.
Mr. Mehta, talk to us about Godrej India Circus and the journey thus far.
But I think the whole idea behind India Circus had its roots many, many years ago when I was studying in the United States, and I wanted to carry, gifts back for friends. And I used to notice that there was nothing available except, traditional things. There was nothing sort of that was depicting an India that was interesting and coming of age. You can't give elephants and Ganeshas and all the time. So at design school, I sort of realized my mission was to create design that was contemporary, that was sort of India centric, but at the same time had a very exotic, sort of romantic visual appeal, so that people would like to sort of buy the stuff for their home and as gifting. And everywhere I was sort of creating this signature sort of design style that has now become synonymous with my name, sort of so as to say. And one fine day, a sort of group of friends said, why are you working for other people? Do something of your own and on your own. And I said, it needs money, it needs this, it needs that. But anyway, they helped me start India Circus, which I think, looking back now, was probably the best decision ever. Even though it's now a Godrej entity and brand, I mean, the family is extremely supportive, and they see the potential in what we're doing.
A study by Research and Markets projects that India's home decor market will be worth $33.45 billion in 2023 and is expected to reach $40.98 billion by 2028, growing at a CAGR of 4.14%. What are the key drivers of growth in the sector, according to you?
I think exposure. The Indian consumer today is exposed to a lot more than what they were. And this was, of course, pre-pandemic as well. And during the pandemic, again, the average sort of Indian consumer was exposed to a lot of visual on, social media, be it Instagram and be it online issues or magazines and things. So, and home improvement became a very important sort of point in that time of the sort of mid 2020 sort of onwards. So there was already a trajectory in terms of lifestyle and magazines and people wanting to live better. And then the pandemic sort of accelerating that to make the home one of the most important parts of one's sort of space to be. And I mean, the market size is amazing, and there's such brilliant players in the market. If you see what other people, what other industries are doing in terms of just textile or just sheeting and just this. I mean, the whole design language has gone a level up. I mean, everybody wants to do better. No one wants to sort of provide a consumer with really bad design or really bad quality, which is a good thing, I think.
What factors have contributed to the growth and success of Godrej India Circus in the home decor market, and how has the company positioned itself to stand out among the competition?
The key about India Circus is great design, great style, great price, and great quality, right? So we always wanted to provide great quality and great design at the same time have the price right, and that's what we've done. I mean, I never thought in my life I would be selling a set of 5 cushion covers for $9.99, but that product itself has sort of changed the game for us, because people are aspirational, but we are sort of coming down to various levels of the spectrum, and that's what works.
In what ways have you diversified your product offerings and expanded your customer base to drive revenue growth?
We are trying to sort of create an India Circus lifestyle, if I may say that, where we are sort of recommending to people how their living room can look with cushions in place, with a nice wallpaper, with a rug, with a lamp, and things like that. So the other categories we fleet past. I mean, we do sort of trend things, like we are doing umbrellas now, which is done very well for us and continues to do very well for us. Our own designs on umbrellas, different kinds of techniques of umbrellas as well. So what I'm doing now is we are staying away from stationery and little accessories that crowd the warehouse and don't help with the top line.
What is your perspective on key legislative initiatives such as Make in India and Vocal for Local in the context of India's home decor market?
Interestingly, we were always made in India. So we put 95% of our product is made in India. We commission Indian manufacturers, we commission Indian artisans, we commission Indian Indian companies across the board. A good example to give you on this is Godrej is celebrating 125 years, and Mr. Godrej, Jamshed Godrej, insisted that everything in the package that was given out, and I'm talking about 25,000 cases of gifts, was made in India. So we rejigged everything. Even though it was much cheaper to make it elsewhere, it was more easier to make it elsewhere. I won't say where, but we rejig everything to make in India. And it's not easy, but we managed it. And this is something that we're continuously sort of doing. And even at Godrej, with all our sustainability ventures, with mangrove conservation, with all these things that we're doing, we were one of the first players in the industry that was India-based. I mean, a lot of our competition, if you see, is making in China. So we are good in that aspect.
What key trends do you see taking shape in the country's home decor market?
I think the key is to educate consumers more. But anyway, talking about trend, I think that more people, with the help of brands like India Circus, like Asian Paints, brands that are educating the consumer, I think homes are getting more personal. I think that's one trend where people want to, do a wallpaper, want to sort of do an interesting wall color, want to do things that make their space interesting. And the other trend is actually wanting to buy made in India. So people ask, is this made in India? Where is this made? So I think that's also very important part of what we do. And the third thing I think is licensing. I think that being a design house ourselves, we can lend design to other manufacturers.
Mr. Mehta, Leaders of Tomorrow in its 11th season has ideas for New India as its theme. According to you, what are some of the big ideas that will shape India's home decor sector?
I think the Make in India initiative needs to be taken more seriously. I mean, we have been working with Indian manufacturers and Indian craftsmen and handymen, our quantities are only going up. We are not seeing an issue in quality, but we do at source, sourcing, QC, quality control team, etc., handles a lot of rejections. You will never see it because it's rejected. So the Indian market in general, the Indian manufacturing market needs to up its game in terms of providing constant quality, innovation, and development going forward.
Okay.
So I think another interesting idea was that builders today are making an effort to do interesting show houses. They're making an effort to really show the whole development, whether it's a second home, first home. I mean, you're seeing good quality stuff. And I would encourage builders again to not go the super clean way, but to actually work with Indian designers to create sort of show flats or communities, whether it's a housing project or it's a building project, where they're showing a definitive contemporary Indian lifestyle in public areas, so that people see something different. I think everyone is too used to seeing the same thing, and there are lots of builders now in, say, Goa or North India or even in Maharashtra that are, or even Telangana and other places like that, where there's such big projects, and I think they all need help. So I would love them to ask us for help. And I think the other thing is we at India Circus have a very tight offline model. Each of our stores are only 400 to 500 square feet. We have about 16 of them. We're expanding to 40 before the end of this year. The idea of having a small store is, of course, controlling costs and breaking even. But the issue is that, I mean, it's very difficult. I mean, retail in this country with the costs that are entailed is difficult. So I would again want to work with mall owners and high street sort of managers to figure out how brands can expand their footprint in this country at the same time being profitable.
Thank you, Mr. Mehta. It was a pleasure interacting with you.
Okay, that's wonderful. Thank you.
With that, it's a wrap on this episode of IDFC First Bank Presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 11. We hope you enjoyed the conversations. Thank you and goodbye.